Good morning. Thank you for all being here this morning. I'm pleased to welcome you all. Just want to acknowledge some of our honored guests here today. We do have from the City Council, we have Mayor Patricia Mahan. Yay! We have Jamie Matthews. Our elected Chief of Police, Steve Lodge. Also with us this morning, Jennifer Sparacino, our City Manager. We have members of the Parks and Recreation Commission here. Out here we have Jerry Marsali, the Chair. And also from the Historical and Landmarks Commission, Chris Motika. And I think I saw Don Arnoldy. Okay. And Jerry McKee. Also with us, we have Father William Stout, former Agnews chaplain, and our honorary historian, Lori Garcia. And I am James Teixeira, your Parks and Recreation Director. If we can gather our attention, as I invite Father William Stout, former Agnews chaplain, to provide our invocation.
Lord God, Father of us all, we gather in your presence to thank you for the generosity of the officials of the City of Santa Clara and for erecting this wonderful structure. And we ask your blessings upon those who have worked on this and have put up the displays and added all the work, tremendous amount of work that goes into making such a wonderful project. Most of all, we thank you because these honor the great and wonderful individuals for over 120 years, residents of Agnews, for their generosity and love and service, especially that they give to one another's, the great mark of the residents of Agnews. We ask your blessings upon the staff and the administration and the doctors and the nurses and all those who supplied so much love and care to those who lived at Agnews. We thank you for this reminder and a memorial really of the generosity and compassion of the people of this area. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Father Stout. At this time, I'd like to introduce Patricia Mahan, Mayor of the City of Santa Clara.
Well, good morning. Today, I think we're here to memorialize the people who were Santa Clara residents, people who were an integral part of our great city. This whole area at one time was Agnews State Hospital, later called Agnews Developmental Center, earlier called Agnews Insane Asylum. It's a place that has a very rich and deep history connected with the city of Santa Clara that goes back more than 100 years. This place is meant to celebrate the lives of the people who lived here, who worked here, and to memorialize and honor the people who are interred here. So we will always remember them. These were people that made a great contribution to the city of Santa Clara. They helped people here that were in great need, people who were often in great pain. People that lived on Agnews campus received assistance, received help, received compassion. This place made their lives better, in turn made Santa Clara better. So this small space, all that's left really of the Agnews campus, is built as a memorial to them and a celebration of their lives and the work they did for our great city. This little building used to be Building 214. It was one of the first buildings built after the 1906 earthquake destroyed most of the original Agnews campus. And this building came here to be here almost by accident by the vote of one vote of our city council to make sure that we had a place that was historic in and of itself, a place to display the history of this great Agnews campus. So it's really a great pleasure for me to be here to open this museum here today and to view this beautiful cemetery. I want to add my personal thanks to Larry DeJanvier. We all know we have great employees who work with people in Santa Clara every day. Larry is a really special person because he deals with people in Santa Clara at a time of great crisis in their lives, a time when they've lost a loved one. And he does it with dignity and grace, and he helps people through that very difficult time in their lives. And then after that time has passed, he continues to help them by making sure that their cemeteries, the memories, the sites of their loved ones are kept in such beautiful surroundings, a place where you can come and visit and remember and feel good. So I really thank Mr. DeJanvier for his work in that particular area. So today, although it seems a little somber to be having a ribbon cutting at a cemetery, again, it's just a way to memorialize and celebrate the lives of the people who lived here in Santa Clara.
Thank you, Mayor Mann. Now I'd like to introduce our city manager, Jennifer Sparacino.
Thank you. I'm also very pleased to be here with our mayor and Councilmember Matthews and all of you, including our wonderful city staff and commissioners on this really special occasion today. While our mayor and other speakers will be focusing on the history of the Developmental Center, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the recent history, which is how this project really came together. And obviously, in every project, it's a number of agencies as well as city departments who coordinate their efforts to really accomplish the council goal, which was to make this such a beautiful facility. And I wanted to mention that we paid a lot of attention in the renovation to things that you may not notice, but for example, we replicated the windows, the doors, and even the tile in the restrooms. And so you can imagine that this was a very extensive overall process. We also paid attention to ongoing operational efficiencies, as well as we tried to think of things that would be environmentally sound. And so we have a ceiling that is insulated, and the windows are double paned, for example. And inside, all the items were cataloged into a computer with detailed descriptions, and most of the photos were digitized and coded for an inventory. And in planning the renovation of the cemetery area, city staff really conscious again of environmental concerns, and we have many drought tolerant and native plants that have been planted here in the beautification process, which I was very impressed with today, which I haven't seen this for several months. And I think we should acknowledge Jeff Kent in our Parks and Recreation Department and thank him for those efforts. But to get this job done, we had our project team, and I want to acknowledge our Director of Parks and Recreation, Jim Teixeira, our Park Superintendent, George Friedenbach, and even though the mayor has very beautifully acknowledged our Cemetery Operations Superintendent, Larry DeJanvier, I want to also add my remarks. I want to thank him for his commitment and dedication to this project, because I know it was key in bringing it forward today. And I would also like just to thank the key roles that our retired Parks and Recreation directors, and some of you wouldn't think that our prior Director of Parks and Recreation, Earl Carmichael, would have been involved. But early on, he looked at this site. And then, of course, our just recently retired Director of Parks and Recreation, Larry Wolf, was very helpful in getting this project started. And then our current director made sure that it got completed in excellent fashion. So I just have a couple of our very capable staff that I want to highlight to you beyond what I've just done. So I'd like to thank our architects who remained faithful to the period, Protis Associates, and that includes Pierre Protis and Lon Denaway, and also our landscape architects who provided the very beautiful and efficient design, Dillingham Associates, specifically Reed Dillingham. And in addition, we appreciate the guidance provided by the State of California Department of Developmental Services, and specifically former Assistant to the Executive Director Ruth Ritchie and former Coordinator of Volunteer Services Kathleen Lee. Some of the key, some of the key elements inside the museum were provided by Good Plastics. They did the design and the manufacturing of the clear domes to keep the artifacts safe. Santa Clara Lumber for installing and securing the heavy antique cases that line the walls of the museum. And again, when anything historic is being considered in the city of Santa Clara, we always have Mary Hannell, our local historic librarian. Actually, she's historical librarian. She's not historic yet. And she always helps contribute. And she worked with Larry DeJanvier to review the installations for the project. So we want to thank all those people. And just for everyone who was involved, thank you for making this such a wonderful project for the city of Santa Clara.
Thank you, Jennifer. I invite our honorary city historian to the podium, Lori Garcia. Hey, Lori.
Thank you. I am so thrilled to be here today. I have to read this speech, but my eyes keep watering up, so I ask you to bear with me. Agnews was established in 1885. At that time, its name was the California Hospital for the Chronic Insane at Agnew, and it was originally intended for the care of people who, by reason of the duration and character of their illnesses, were not considered anybody that could ever get well. In other words, they were chronic. So those who were just suffering some episode in their life would not have come here. However, that quickly changed, and by the time the first patients came in October 1888, they were already, the Board of Trustees was looking at changing the focus of this place, and 5 months later, the state did, and it became known as the State Asylum at Agnews, and it was authorized to receive patients from all over the state, no matter whether they were suffering from a long-term mental illness or just a short-term mental illness. On April 18th, 1906, the earthquake struck this area of California. Agnews had 1,108 patients, and the earthquake took a tremendous toll on the area. While it was estimated in the beginning reports, and the early totals were published as to the damage in the area and the loss of life, they looked at 27 localities. Agnews rated 21st in population, but it was shown third in the list of casualties with the loss of 118 patients and staff, and 11th in the loss of property damage. So the toll here was enormous. But good did come from that, because when the earthquake destroyed most of the buildings, the opportunity arose to build along modern lines. And this reconstruction incorporated Dr. Stocking's very innovative ideas about how mentally ill people should be treated into a design that took them out of these, call them high-rise, massive structures, and placed them into low-rise, reinforced concrete buildings in what was a park setting. This was an extremely important change in the treatment of patients, and Agnews became the first hospital in California to switch from confinement and permanent housing of patients to scientific treatment with a hope of release, and it was cited as the leading institution. And during the 20th century, Agnews grew in size. Like a small town, it had a fire department, a laundry, clothing store, beauty and barber shops, bakery, etc. By 1955, the population at Agnews included nearly 4,600 patients. And when the East Campus in San Jose opened in 1960, together the two hospital sites comprised over 150 separate buildings and 747 acres of land. However, new approaches to treatment affected hospital operations and facilities. In 1966, the first program for developmentally disabled began, and 5 years later, the Lanterman Act resulted in the return of those suffering from mental illness to the community or other facilities, and in June 1972, the last mentally ill patient left Agnews. The first program for developmentally disabled patients was jointly overseen by the State Departments of Mental Hygiene and Rehabilitation, but in 1972 this agreement was terminated. The Department of Mental Hygiene adopted the concept of program management, and the number of programs for the developmentally disabled began to increase. By 1978, Agnews had 975 residents receiving services in 7 different programs. While legally still a state hospital, Agnews was now more commonly referred to as Agnews Residential Facility. In 1985, the hospital was renamed Agnews Developmental Center to reflect its new focus. From then until its closure, it served as a developmental center treating only the developmentally disabled residents. In 1995, Agnews West Campus was closed, and the following year, the state of California declared it surplus. The property was divided into 2 parcels, with the smaller parcel purchased by Sun Microsystems Incorporated. While the public hearing process was underway, Agnews was placed on the National Register of Historic Places as a district comprised of 77 buildings, historic landscaping, and an internal street system. As the project proposed by Sun would result in the loss of 73 buildings, the street pattern, and a significant part of the landscaping, significant mitigations to this loss were required. One of these mitigations required the relocation of this structure, Building 213, to a new location. Surviving from the time when it was originally constructed as a temporary structure during the post-earthquake emergency period, today we are celebrating the dedication of Building 213 as a museum to commemorate those who lived and worked at Agnews. You need to remember that for over a century, those afflicted with mental illness and developmental disabilities were cared for at Agnews. As a result of the commitment of people who devoted countless hours to the care of those less fortunate, significant contributions were made here to the treatment of the mentally ill, and Agnews came to be considered an ideal hospital where the treatment of mental illness was carried out more successfully than in any hospital of its kind in the United States and possibly in the world. So I think what this all shows is this was a place with a heart. And the building now represents that place in the city with a heart that treasures its past. And I hope you all enjoy the incredible displays that you're going to find inside. Thank you for letting me babble on.
Thank you very much, Lori. I invite Angela Verbenek Libby, Executive Director of Agnews Developmental Center, for her remarks.
I'll do my very best to keep things short, although most of you know me, know that that's kind of tough for me to do. On behalf of the State of California Department of Developmental Services and Agnews Developmental Center, I want to congratulate the City of Santa Clara and all of the people connected with the opening of this historic Agnews Museum. And bear with me a little bit, I'm going to be repetitious. I really want to personally acknowledge the vision, perseverance, and commitment of a few individuals. Certainly Larry DeJonvier and Kathleen Lee and Ruth Ritchie. Got to give them a big hand, folks. So many times over the last few years when we were busy focused on other tasks, they kept the spirit of this museum alive. And you cannot imagine the work that went into this. I hope you think of that when you go through how the beautiful displays are inside. At least 5 years, probably more, I'm sure. They had to make phone calls, keep in contact with our headquarters, make certain that things that had to go to archives went there, doing various research, assuring that various items were properly set up over here and displayed. There's a wonderful documentary film, which has been a huge undertaking, and I really encourage all of you to purchase that. It's really lovely. The bell that's over here and how that got moved over, and just an undertaking. And by the way, it's always been my dream to ring that bell, and I don't know if I'll ever have a chance, but it's in there today, so maybe I will. They did a tremendous job, and I hope that today you will see the results of their hours and hours of effort. This museum will be and one other thing. Some of you mentioned in the crowd as we were talking earlier that you might be interested in being docents. And so any family member, retired person, anybody connected or affiliated with Agnews that would be willing to come over and maybe spend an hour or so, open it up, talk about your experiences working at Agnews, I just think that would be fantastic. You can call Larry or come up to him right after the event today. I mean, I just think that would be fantastic if we help to staff this and share with passersby a little bit about our experiences at Agnews. So put in a plug for that as well. This museum, they will. This museum will be a fitting tribute to the countless thousands of individuals with mental illness or developmental disabilities and all of the staff who faithfully served them over the last 120 plus years in the Santa Clara Valley. Every person who passes through these doors will be enlightened and enriched by the story that is told here, and perhaps understand a little bit more about those among us who have special needs. In the end, many of us have come to the realization that it was never about the buildings on Agnews campus, the land, the location. And when we closed last March in 2009, it was very upsetting and sad for many of us. But it was the spirit of something bigger and more important than ourselves, the collective spirit of people and of giving to others. Don't we all benefit from the spirit of service and recognize others as they are? I think that we do. A little tolerance, a little understanding, a little more acceptance of who we all are as individuals makes us better human beings. It has been an honor and privilege to work at Agnews this past quarter of a century for me personally, and I cannot imagine a more fitting and lasting legacy than to have this museum live on for generations, educating and informing others about the tremendous spirit of service that has been the hallmark of Agnews Developmental Center. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Angela. At this time, moment many of us have been waiting for, we're going to invite council and our distinguished guests to come down, and we're going to do a ribbon cutting right here in front of the doorway. And before I do that, there are videos that can be ordered that provide a wonderful history of the Agnews facility, and that will also help support the endowed care of this facility. Then we also invite you to join us for refreshments and a viewing of the museum displays afterwards. So as soon as we're done with the ribbon cutting, that would conclude the formal portion of our program, and so we thank you for coming.
Thank you. I got it.
Okay. One,
two, three.
Hello, my name is Richard Carbajal. I started out at Agnews in 1986. I've worked there for 18 years, and I grew up. That Agnews is I'm part of the Agnews family. So I just wanted to say hello, and glad to be in this historical event. And thank you.
Hi, my name is Gretchen Hill. I'm glad to see the museum come about. I started working for the state of California July 31, 1959, when I was 19 years old, and I started here at Agnews. I worked at a lot of other facilities, but I always felt like Agnews was home. I transferred back in 7 different times, and I was a puppy when I started here. So it's a sad end, but I'm glad it's a happy ending too. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jim Hill, and I started at Agnew in 1960, and I worked, off and on until 1995. Sorry, and I started out as a psychiatric technician, and when I ended up at Agnew, I was a program assistant, and I started my career at Patton, transferred to Agnew, and the next thing I know, Agnew was my home. I really enjoyed it, and it was a great place for the staff and the patients.
Hi, I'm Veronica, and I'm an employee of Agnews Developmental Center for 30 years now, and I'm very glad for today that we are part of the memorial service of this Agnews Museum. And thank you so much for the City of Santa Clara for working with us to make this event memorable. Thank you.
Hello, this is Cora Barang. I started working at Agnews in 1975. I've been here. I was here for 34 years, and it was really a pleasure to take care of all these clients, to meet a lot of friends and staff, and this is my second family, and it's just such a nice day today that we are here together to see familiar faces and share what we've been doing since Agnews closed. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Edna Smythe, and I had the pleasure of working at Agnews Developmental Center for approximately 30 plus years. It was a great time. I really enjoyed the staff and the individuals with whom we served. I saw so many different changes over the years. The dedication of staff to improve the services, and I just can't say enough about how worthwhile and it was to be there and all the friendships that I've made over the years.
Hi, my name is Damian Camarina.
And I'm Lee Beltran.
I worked at Agnews for a short time, short compared to a lot of people here. I was only there about 9 years. A lot of memories, a lot of good times, and I'm kind of honored to be part of this event today.
I worked at Agnews since 1987 until they started closing. A lot of good times there, and a lot of people we've met. A lot of good times.
Hi, I worked at Agnew for 10 years in the physical medicine department, and I really miss my patients, but I'm really, really glad to see that they are all doing it well. But I still miss Agnew.
Hi, I'm Susie Devasya. Been working here for almost 33 years as an RN. I'm still here. I'll be, I don't know how long, but I love working with my clients and staff. This is the best place, I should say. This is the best place to work. Our clients were very important to us, and we love them. And I know they have been taking care of better also outside, so I'm happy that they are going to community homes, but Agnews was the best place to work.
My name is Joanne Eastland Padron. I've worked here at Agnews for 25 years. I retired. I was a psych tech and a psych tech trainee and a senior psych tech, and I also ran rehab supply for many years and was an environmental enhancement coordinator, and then we worked together training people. So I've wore many hats, and I've enjoyed all of the years I worked here and the clients. So.
Hi, my name is Gudelia Gonzalez. I work for Agnews Developmental Center 10 years, and it's been my pleasure to serve this kind of people. It made me more better human being, understanding and knowing all what it's about, taking care of them.
Hi, my name is Mary Lou, and I've worked at Agnews for 28 years. And at Agnews and the clients we serve will always become part of my life, as it's a family, and the passion of just taking care of these clients is always there. And I am just thankful that I'm so blessed to be a part of Agnews family. Thank you.